Hey, it's me, Delta, without a script today. I actually did write a script for this video, and I was editing it, and I just scrapped it because here's what I want to talk about. I still see people complaining that Transformers Skybound just has a bunch of cheap shock value deaths, and if the comic is not for you, that's fine. I'm not here to say that you're required to enjoy it, but I just cannot understand people who see these deaths and don't see the purpose to them. There's a lot of characters who die. Spoiler alert, Ratchet, maybe Jetfire, maybe Beachcomber, Astro Train, Shockwave, but I want to talk about Bumblebee. Why does Bumblebee have to die in issue 1? I was speaking to someone recently online and they said that they felt like Bumblebee's death in issue 1 was just ridiculous. Why? It's just there to upset me. They also heard the interview with Daniel Warren Johnson where he jokingly said he just didn't want to draw Bumblebee, but then he went and drew Cliff Jumpers, the same... Okay, look. I want to talk about why Bumblebee had to die in Transformers Skybound. Firstly, if you've read the first issue of Transformers Skybound, you see Bumblebee's death, and you think to yourself, there's no meaning to this, I think you need to read it again. Spike and Optimus have this relationship that grows between the two of them that is solely founded off of Bumblebee's death. The only reason that Spike chooses to help Optimus, somebody who he has no information on, doesn't know who this character is, the only reason he helps him is because he sees Optimus cling onto Bumblebee's lifeless body, and he thinks about his own family. He thinks about his father, who's not, he's not really a good dad right now. He thinks about his brother Jimmy, who he's lost. He sees this giant metal machine, and he sees loss. He sees pain. He sees suffering. He sees struggle. He sees despair. Issue 2, I think, is maybe even more well-known within the community because it's got the deer scene and all this great stuff, but I think that we cannot forget about the fact that this is where Spike and Optimus really kind of talk, and this is where you get the backstory to all of this. Bumblebee is family to Optimus. This is a shared concept that these two characters can communicate and connect on with each other. You know, they don't really have much in common. One's a giant metal machine who's been fighting a war for eons, and one's a kid who's, you know, lost his mom and lost his brother and has a dad who's not really that good of a dad yet again, but they can connect over this concept of family, of losing family, of wanting to do what's best for family. So for people who look at Bumblebee's death and say, well, there's really no meaning to it, it's just there, you know, Daniel Warren Johnson just put it there, that way he could shock us, and I don't understand. I don't understand the disconnect there. Now, if that story beat doesn't work for you, of course that's one thing. You can say, hey, I understand what he's doing, but I don't like it. Sure, that's perfectly fine. But to say that there is no reason, that's really tough. Why am I talking about this? I already made a video about this. Some people would say this topic is, you know, old. Nobody's talking about it. But I have to talk about it because of issue 23. Issue 23 made me cry. Not like a little single tear fall down the side of my face. No, it made me cry. And the reason it made me cry is because yet again, we're jumping all the way back to issue 1, and we're showing off the reason why Bumblebee and why other characters like Ratchet and Jetfire had to die. And it's all been leading to this moment. Optimus is reunited with Sparky, kind of in this pseudo-matrix. I think it's really important that I say it. For the comic itself, it feels more to me, and this is very Daniel Warren Johnson-esque, that the physical and actual tangible way that this is working is not as important as the feeling and the ethos of it. Is Optimus actually inside the Matrix? I don't know. Is Sparky actually alive inside of the Matrix? I don't know. Personally, I think the answer is no to all of those. Again, the Matrix is not this place where the dead primes and heroes go to live. It's a communication tool for shared knowledge. So anyways, that aside, Optimus and Sparky are reunited, and they are able to have this moment where Sparky is telling Optimus that he cannot build up these walls like he had done. He can't shut people out of his life. He has to be able to accept help, accept who he is in himself. He has to be able to be rid of this internal corruption. Sparky is able to somewhat reunite with his son Spike. He's able to see him through the Matrix. Again, is this physically happening? I don't think that's really the point, if it is or not. I think Daniel Warren Johnson leaves it up in the air, that way you, the reader, can kind of decide for your own in your mind. But we have this page where Sparky is able to physically reconnect with Spike, and he puts his hand on his cheek, and you turn the page, and this is the page that, without even reading the dialogue, made me start crying. And it's this amazing scene of Optimus holding Bumblebee's hand to his face. And again, this is a callback to some of the earlier issues in Volume 1, where we see these different perspectives of Sparky's war and Optimus's war and how they collide and how they connect. And he calls him a beautiful boy. Man, it's making me tear up now. So for the people who still to this day are looking at the comic and going, man, Bumblebee's death I felt was just cheap. Why did Bumblebee have to die? This is the answer. Right here. Issue 23 is the answer. Bumblebee had to die back in issue 1 for this moment. If we had Bumblebee throughout all of this series and then he got shot in issue 22, sure, this still would have worked in a way, but having him dead from the beginning and kind of lingering in your mind this whole time, this is why he had to die. This is why Ratchet had to die. This is why Jetfire had to go through so much pain and turmoil and just awful, wretched things that Daniel Warren Johnson has been doing. Has there been some shock value to it? Yes, of course. Of course there's some shock value to it. But that doesn't inherently make it cheap. The reason that Bumblebee died was not only to create the connection between Spike and Optimus, but it was for this moment, this beautiful, amazing, masterful moment that was written by Daniel Warren Johnson and drawn by Jorge Corona. And I want you to look at this page without any dialogue, without any color. This is the original art page that Corona did, and I think it is even more powerful than what we got in the issue itself. You don't need the dialogue. Of course, it's helpful, and I like it. I'm glad there's dialogue, but you almost don't even need it. You're able to just experience this moment for what it is, and you're able to have clarity of Optimus just getting to reunite with his family in this ethereal space. Is it real? Is it physical? Is it a dream? Is it some type of vision? It doesn't really matter. Of course, we can have our own opinions, but for the story, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. What matters is that this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the calling of Optimus. This is what makes him get back up and stand against Megatron, a character who, just a few issues ago, he was retreating from as soon as he showed up. Optimus is a broken and he's a scared individual. There's nothing wrong with that. He's still growing as a leader, but this is the moment when he's able to reunite with his family, that he gains the strength and the courage, and he breaks down those walls that he's put up, just like Sparky did. He's breaking them down so he can stand up against Megatron, and so he can protect Earth, the humans, and everybody else that he needs to. Alright. I think my rant is over.